The film begins with a news report, and a woman says that a man tried to bite her in a supermarket. Then the camera zooms out and shows us the family dog who is scared. Adam runs quickly and goes to his father and mother's room and finds them dead and covered in blood. He hides under the bed and grabs the gun while loading the weapon. A creature enters the room and begins dragging the bodies of his father and mother before the vampire finds him too and prepares to attack him. The scene changes and focuses on little Charlie, a high school student in Clark County in Nevada, who is dragging his broken motorcycle home. He greets his neighbor Doris before entering the garage. Jan begins to complain about the mysterious new neighbor who is laying concrete in the garage for no apparent reason. Their conversation is interrupted by Charlie's friend Amy, who comes to take him to school. When Charlie is in class, the school calls the students and several of them are absent. One of his best friends is Adam, who we discover was the one who was killed at the beginning of the movie. When Charlie stopped at his closet, one of his childhood friends named Ed pulls him aside and tells him that Adam is missing, then suggests that they go and see what the story is at night. Charlie is hesitant because ever since he started going out with Amy, he has become a famous boy, but Ed and Adam are considered failures. Instead of helping Ed, he goes. On a date with Amy, after that, when Amy takes him home, he sees his mother spoiling the new neighbor Jerry, so they decide to greet him. After Jerry enters his house, Charlie delivers a message to him from Ed, who is nervous and threatens to publish embarrassing stories about Charlie's childhood if he does not come. This makes Charlie run to Adam's house immediately, and there Ed is waiting for him. The two try to knock on the door, but no one answers, so Ed is afraid and they go inside while they are laughing. They see the dark, empty house. Ed claims that the new neighbor Charlie's guy named Jerry is a vampire. Ed and Adam have been investigating this for a while, and now they are sure of Jerry's identity. Among the evidence is that Jerry's windows are completely covered, so he warns Charlie not to invite Jerry to his house because the vampire needs an invitation to enter. Of course, Charlie thinks this is stupid and foolish talk, and the two start to quarrel about how much Charlie has changed since he started dealing with the common people, whom he sees as fake people. At this moment, they separate from each other. Ed goes home on a skateboard until he is attacked by the school bully Mark Fayed. He starts to climb pictures to escape. Unfortunately, he meets Jerry in the garden of a slum. He breaks and enters the house thinking that Jerry will not be able to enter, but Jerry enters normally because the house is abandoned. Jerry announces that he knows that Ed has been watching for a while, and a guy starts running up the stairs but jumps out of the window. Jerry is waiting outside for Ed to fall into the pool, and Jerry tells him to calm down because what is happening is for his own good. He uses his mind control power to be able to play with Ed's mind before he sinks his fangs into his neck. The next day, Charlie notices that Ed is not at school, so he decides to visit his house later. But he finds only his father and mother there, who welcome him warmly. He asks permission to go upstairs under the pretext that he wants to borrow a book. In Ed's room, he finds the website of a vampire hunter named Peter Vincent. He also finds a series of videos that Ed secretly recorded in front of Jerry's house, where we see the door of his car moving on its own, which proves that the man is not visible on the cameras. This shocks Charlie greatly, and he is finally convinced that what he was telling him is true. When he returns home, Jerry suddenly appears and says that he needs a maid. He has a girl at home, but the beer is over. So if Charlie has. Charlie tells him yes, and he is nervous. Jerry walks behind him to the door, but as expected, Charlie does not enter. Charlie searches for a can in the fridge, and Jerry looks at him. He accidentally breaks a bottle, and Jerry offers to help him clean up, but the terrified Charlie insists that he can do it alone after he gives the beer to Jerry and closes the door. He goes upstairs, and there Amy is waiting for him. Charlie's mind is very busy with thoughts about Jerry now, so he runs to the window and sees that Jerry's friend, the girl, has arrived home and who turns out to be their neighbor Doris. Charlie pushes Amy violently on the bed when Jerry looks at them. Amy does not understand what is happening to him and reports that she leaves. Later, at night, Charlie wakes up from sleep to the sound of a woman screaming in the emergency room. But when the police arrive, Jerry succeeds in convincing the officer that he was joking with his friend. Charlie watches this conversation with disgust and perks, and Jerry gets into his car and leaves immediately after the police take him away. Because Charlie is worried about Doris's safety, he sneaks into the vampire's house and begins to investigate. He finds a hidden symbol in Jerry's office and takes a picture as evidence, but before he discovers more, Jerry returns and goes inside a closet and finds a secret door leading to a corridor with several rooms, one of which is locked. He looks through the peephole, and Bella is there holding a screwdriver and trying to open the lock. Unfortunately, he has to hide again when he hears Jerry coming from the crack in the door. He sees Jerry dragging poor Doris and sucking her blood during the attack. Doris advises Charlie to remain silent, and after that, Jerry throws Doris out and leaves the room. Charlie finally opens the door to get Doris out of the house safely, while Jerry is busy watching TV in the living room. The two of them go down the stairs and start heading towards the door until Jerry appears and makes them go back, but he just takes an apple, and then returns to the TV again. This is Charlie's chance to take Doris and go out, but while they are walking, it turns out that Jerry was watching them with a smile full of cunning. The two of them succeed in getting out of the house, and now the day has come. But when Doris goes out into the sunlight, she suddenly lights up, and this shocks Charlie. When he returns home, he warns his mother to stay away from Jerry completely and never let him enter the house, and he leaves her confused and at school. He decides to search for the vampire hunter whose website was open on Peter Vincent's computer. Then he sends him to a place where Charlie is performing a play. He pretends to be a journalist, and Peter Vincent's apple is in his apartment, which is decorated with weapons for hunting supernatural creatures and their different shapes. But when he starts asking him how to kill a vampire, he also shows him a picture of the hidden symbol that he found in Jerry's house. The man says that he is crazy and leaves without any other choice. Charlie returns home and puts Tom and Jerry's crosses around Cotton. At this time, the school thugs Mark and Ben are watching from the window curiously. Jerry then approaches them, and in less than a minute attacks. At this time, Charlie is digging stakes inside to arm himself when his girlfriend appears and asks him why he is acting so strangely. But before that, he can explain something to her. Jerry knocks on the door and asks Jane to hand over her son to him because Charlie broke into his house and robbed him the day before. Jane is shocked when she hears this, but she decides to trust her son and looks at Jerry and tells him to get out of here. This really annoys the vampire. He grabs Rick and starts running into Charlie's garden and cuts the gas line to start a fire. This causes the chimney to explode and set the house on fire. Now they are convinced that Jerry has become very dangerous. The three of them jump into the car and start running away. Jerry tries to chase them with Charlie's motorcycle, but the front wheel is broken, so the water well falls on the car. Amy is scared when Charlie tries to explain that Jerry is a vampire. His mother still can't believe it. Not far from them, Jerry hits his car in the back of their car. He also scratches their car from the side before he overtakes them and blocks the road. She gets scared, but Charlie shouts at her to keep driving. So he actually does that. Unfortunately, they face more problems when Jerry gets stuck in the bottom of the car and Ben is about to break the floor. It appears that he has returned to his real form now. Charlie starts kicking him to get him away, and Jane finally stops the car and he flies out of it. But then another car hits their car and the angry Swayal comes down at that moment. Jerry lifts their car with his new form as a vampire he approaches, and the driver comes and drinks his blood. Then Char intervenes bravely with a big cross to defend himself, and he tells his mother and his friend to run and slowly approaches Jerry, who has returned to his human form again. But surprisingly, the cross burns only when it touches the vampire, and he easily throws Charlie on their car while he is mocking Charlie's daughter about how stupid humans are and they always don't know how to hit the heart of vampires. When he sticks the stake in the vampires, Jane approaches quietly from behind and washes the traffic in Jerry, who. He screams from the pen at the same time Jane faints. Then Charlie and Amy carry her, and the three jump into the dead driver's car. Charlie intentionally hits the family's car, so his heart breaks. Jerry, while the family is fleeing the place, we can see Jerry's bone returning to its place. At the hospital, the police also arrive to ask what happened, but of course Charlie doesn't say anything, knowing that they won't believe him. Oh, at this time, the hunter Peter Vincent decides to study the fingerprint that Charlie left in his office the previous day. He finally finds out that Charlie wasn't trying to laugh at him or anything. He calls the young man and asks him to come to his house. When the three finally meet at Peter Vincent's house, he finally opens his heart and says that this symbol belongs to a very strong bloodline of vampires that emerged from the Mediterranean and were making their victims live for days in order to turn them into vampires as well. According to him, Charlie has no chance against this vampire because killing this type needs an army. Suddenly, Vincent receives a call saying that a package is coming to him. So he gets out of the man who delivered the package to enter and tells his friend to bring the package. But it turns out that this was just a trick, and he enters and turns into a vampire. Vincent grabs a crossnail to threaten him, but quickly runs scared when Cod chases him. The door of the safe room tears Cod's arm, and he is about to reach Vince. But at the same time, Charlie and Amy stumble over the body of their friend Vincent at the entrance and writes that the elevator key was destroyed, meaning it is necessary. They find another way out, which leaves them no choice but to hide behind a shelf. At the same time, Ed is looking for them after the two of them knock the shelf over. Charlie grabs the nearest sharp weapon and tells his friend to find a safe place. Ed starts to strangle Charlie and throws him into the room, but Charlie gets up again and grabs the axe displayed on the wall. The two of them face each other, and Charlie madly slams the axe down until he finally hits him in the neck on the other side of the apartment. Amy arms herself with a gun and silver bullets. Exactly when Jerry the vampire arrives, she tries to hit him, but she barely does it because these bullets are intended for werewolves. Without second thoughts, she finds the Holy Grail and throws holy water in his face, which temporarily incapacitates him. If he thinks Ed is dead, he is not dead. He just straightens his neck and continues his attack on Charlie, pinning him to the ground and biting his neck until Amy. She enters and hits him with a chain when Aid rises again. Charlie hesitates and sticks a stake in his heart, which makes Aid return to his real form at the moment and tells Charlie that everything is fine before he turns to roam after announcing that Jerry is here. The two of them escape from a door leading to a nightclub when Jerry, who is clearly from the holy water, went after them. The two of them disperse in the middle of the crowd. Jerry finds Amy and Paige Rhea and uses his mind control power to make her taste his blood and completely immobilize her while kissing her. At this time, Charlie tries to catch up with her, but the security guard pulls him away, leaving nothing in front of him but to watch. And Jerry sucks Amy's blood when he returns to Peter Vincent's apartment. He finds the man pulling his bag to leave. Vincent confesses that he has never killed a vampire before and that he started collecting tools for hunting supernatural creatures, but because of the shock, because his father and mother were killed on a vampire's hand after hearing Charlie swear that he will kill Jerry, gives him a special stake that, according to him, has the ability to turn victims who have been turned into vampires back into humans again. This is when the original vampire the ground and Charlie tries to hit them with the arrow, but Jerry grabs the arrow, then Jerry slams the door and locks Charlie outside away from Peter. Peter starts to step back while hitting Jerry, but the bullets don't stop in the end. Jerry throws a stone at Peter's forehead, making him bleed. Now it's clear that Jerry is not alone, and the little vampires he bit started to come out of the ground and walls, and he was attracted to the smell of blood at the same time on the other side of the basement. Charlie finds Amy, whose mind is now corrupted because of the vampire. She paralyzes Charlie when Peter starts to hit the little vampires with his special gun, but the gun gets stuck after a few shots, and when Amy appears her fangs to bite Charlie, he sticks the stakes in them, but on purpose he keeps away from her heart. Charlie then breaks the door, and as soon as he sees that Peter is in danger, he hits the ceiling, making small holes to let the sunlight in to save Peter. Jerry understands that Peter was bitten when he sees him smoking. In the sunlight and slowly turning into a vampire, Amy approaches Jerry and starts kissing him and says to him, "Why is this Charlie?" He uses Peter's lighter to set himself on fire and jumps on Jerry and reveals that his suit is fireproof. Jerry starts screaming and getting scared, and Charlie clings to him. He makes a big hole in the ceiling that lets more sunlight in and burns Jerry. Peter then throws the stake at Charlie and it sticks in his heart. Jerry and B and the dust fly.